has a way of digging up old concepts and rebranding them as the next big thing. Lamar Jackson has established himself as an elite quarterback and frontrunner for MVP. The Ravens' zone read, that fizzled at the end of last year, has rebounded and is once again a deadly threat. Back around 2013, with the rise and fall of Robert Griffin III and Colin Kaepernick, defenses appeared to have solved the zone read, effectively killing it off. But it never really died. It just hadn't yet evolved into its final form. A quarterback who could sustain himself as a passing threat without completely relying on his legs. Lamar Jackson is that final evolution. He has 2,500 passing yards, 25 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions, and his 80.7 QBR has nearly doubled over last year. Now that he's developed as a dangerous passer, the zone read has risen back from the ashes. He has 977 yards rushing, and the Ravens are running the ball down defenses' throats. It's exciting to see a team in 2019 bring back what many thought was a dead concept in the NFL, but the scheme itself is hardly new at all. Let's go back to 2012, when the 49ers began their march to the playoffs and ultimately ran over the Packers in the divisional round. Jim Harbaugh was the head coach, and Greg Roman was the offensive coordinator. After a few seasons, Harbaugh and Roman were fired. Following that, Roman landed a job with the Bills, then in 2017 became a Ravens offensive assistant. After Lamar was drafted and finished out 2018, Roman was promoted to offensive coordinator and straight up copy and pasted the 49ers 2012 offense into Lamar Jackson's Windows Surface tablet. To understand the evolution of this offensive scheme, let's first gain a baseline understanding of the zone read, or what some refer to as the read option. The most crucial part of the play is leaving the defense's best lineman completely unblocked. Then, the quarterback will read his movement. The offense has an option at the mesh point. If the lineman crashes inside to take the running back, the quarterback will pull the ball and run around him. If the lineman wants to eliminate the quarterback run and stay upfield, the quarterback will give the ball to the running back to run through the vacated hole. The most common way for defenses to counter this scheme is by utilizing what's called a scrape or gap exchange. When defensive end Eric Armstead crashes down to take running back Gus Edwards, Armstead's gap is now empty. This calls for safety Marcel Harris to scrape over and replace the gap. This exchange would force Lamar to pull the ball and then run directly into Harris. However, Harris had just come into the game for the injured Jaquiski Tartt and is not prepared to execute the exchange. What's so difficult about zone reads is the conflict it presents defenders. Since Lamar looks like he's given the ball to Edwards, Harris wants to clog the A-gap, but with better communication and discipline, he should have known to scrape over and plug the edge. It's not just these two players on the defense who need to be in sync, it takes a collective team effort. You must have a defense that can effectively communicate, stay disciplined, and properly execute. Switching to the wide view, the scrape exchange isn't the only critical part of this play. Cornerback Richard Sherman needs to do his job as well. This is called the alley, and it's precisely where Lamar is looking to run the ball when Armstead crashes down. The defender who is scraping over the top has to fill that alley, and what's equally as important is Sherman forcing the ball inside. When he takes on this block, he has to do so with outside leverage. If Lamar breaks out towards him, Sherman will force him to go back inside to the alley defender. If Sherman pursues him without discipline, two defenders will be in the alley and nobody will be outside for what could turn into a nightmare for the defense. The difference from Roman's scheme then and now, he has Lamar, who's a certifiable freak of nature. He's twitchier and is able to change direction faster than anybody I've ever studied on film. Kaepernick was similarly dangerous off the edge, but was more of a straight line sprinter, while Lamar can bounce and weave around and then whiz right past you. Though Bud Dupree actually gets blocked here, Lamar still reads the edge. The Steelers do a solid job of crashing down on running back Mark Ingram, and linebacker Vince Williams scrape exchanges to fill the alley, while safety Terrell Edmonds comes down to provide help. Since the edge has collapsed, Lamar pulls the ball and tries to race outside the defenders. This is why Lamar transcends this scheme. Even when the defense is playing sound, disciplined football and correctly fitting the run, they just can't catch or even touch the quarterback. As defenses evolve and develop answers for the many questions the zone read creates, the offense finds counters to the counter. Greg Roman knew defenses would scrape exchange to take away the give or pull options in the zone read, so he added another layer. The defensive lineman Carlos Dunlap will be the read man, and linebacker Jermaine Pratt will execute the scrape exchange. Roman understands the way the defense is countering the zone read, so he has a counter of his own. The play is called 13 slap. Lamar will either give to Ingram up the middle or pull the ball outside. The wrinkle is F tight end Nick Boyle coming across the formation and then arc releasing to kick out Pratt, who is scraping over the top. The will linebacker Nick Vigil now has to replace Pratt in the alley while simultaneously deciphering if Ingram will get the ball, all while trying to get a 320-pound left tackle out of his face. Dunlap has to communicate to Vigil that he's taking Ingram, so Vigil can work over the top to replace Pratt. Instead, Vigil still thinks Ingram has the ball, opening up the alley for Lamar. Safety Jesse Bates comes down to fill the alley a tad late and takes a crappy angle, so Lamar leaves that dude, then sends Vigil into the sunken place. The Bengals defense properly executed the scrape exchange, but the Ravens offense had every answer to the test. How did they get those answers? It all goes back to 2012. In the 49ers-Packers divisional round matchup, Colin Kaepernick ran Roman's slap concept perfectly and completely embarrassed the Packers. Just like the previous play, the F-back Bruce Miller will arc release across the formation and kick out whoever's in the alley. Kaepernick will read the unblocked defensive lineman and give or pull the ball based on his movement. The Packers kind of scrape exchange, but since the linebacker doesn't get outside far enough, Miller blocks the defensive lineman and Cap keeps the ball. Everyone still thinks the running back has the ball, so nobody is in the alley. The safety is somewhere doing something, nowhere near the play, and no one is close to containing Kaepernick, who runs 56 yards to the house. That's just one example from Roman's playbook. Whether it's 12 read, 16 blunt, or 17 flow, Roman crossed out 2012 49ers and scribbled 2019 Ravens on top of it. This year against the Patriots, the Ravens ran 16 pop. The key differences compared to their slap concept is Lamar going up the middle and the running back Justice Hill going outside. Instead of the offensive line zone blocking, left guard Bradley Bozeman will pull through the formation to create a lane for Lamar in case he pulls the ball and goes up the middle. The read man on the defense is Kyle Van Noy, and the linebacker Landon Roberts will try to scrape exchange. A small alley is created, but Van Noy manages to squeeze the gap and take down Lamar for only 5 yards. Now, let's rewind back to 2012, and in the 49ers-Falcons NFC Championship game, what do we have? 16 pop. Kaepernick will either give to the running back LaMichael James, who will try to race to the alley outside, or pull the ball and charge up the middle. The left guard, Mike Iupati, will pull through the formation and kick out the scrape exchange linebacker. The read man is on the end of the line of scrimmage as usual, and the linebacker kind of scrape exchanges with him. When Kaepernick sees the read end jump inside, he gives the ball to James. But this play was so well designed and defended so terribly, multiple alleys were wide open. Anything Kaepernick would have done would have resulted in a huge gain. Heading into Week 13, how did the 2019 49ers handle their old offense? Not very well, but that wasn't entirely their fault. The Ravens are running 12 SAS, which stands for same side slap. Instead of the F-back arc releasing across the formation, he will block the scraping linebacker to the same side. Ingram is headed up the middle on the give, while Lamar could pull the ball and follow the F blocker. The 49ers defense is sound in their run fits. Defensive end Nick Bosa will take the running back give, linebacker Fred Warner will scrape exchange and replace his gap, and if Nick Boyle, the F tight end, kicks out Warner in the alley, cornerback K'Wan Williams, who is sitting in the alley, is free to attack Lamar. Bosa takes the running back give. Warner does a decent job scrape exchanging, though he could come downfield harder. He spills the play outside to Williams, who's sitting in the alley all alone. But then, Lamar gives him the Ty Lue treatment and absolutely obliterates his ankles, then scampers past him and through the alley. The 49ers tightly battled the Ravens to the end, but ultimately fell 20-17. What's different between this Ravens offense and zone read teams of the past? If you stack the box, Lamar Jackson will make you pay through the air. I still have my doubts that he can survive all the hits he's been taking. We've seen plenty of quarterbacks in the NFL play with his physical style and quickly get wiped out. At the end of this 2019 season, NFL coaching staffs will have a full offseason to devise the optimal game plan against this Ravens offense, and if one team figures them out, they all have. But for now, the Ravens are unstoppable, Lamar's the MVP, and the scheme is supreme. Greg Roman has seen his system crumble before and ultimately lost his job for it, but back then, he didn't have Lamar Jackson. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this episode, please make sure to like and subscribe, and hit that little bell thingy while you're at it. Well guys, we went 4-1 last week in our Big 5 picks against the spread. We're 22, 12-1 on the season, and haven't had a losing week yet. If you want to join our Patreon community, unlock exclusive access to those picks, and help support this channel, check out the link in the description box below. Thanks to everybody who's already supporting. You guys are incredible, and all your support means so much to me. I hope you felt like you understood some of these concepts better since I posted them on the page a couple days ago. We got the Saints 49ers this week, which is another good one, so we're probably looking at a more 49ers-centric episode next week. Alright, until next Saturday, see ya!